injured people down. It's much better than taking it down a more difficult and dangerous way.
Tradicionalno ovčarstvo ne prinaša več dobička in pastirjev, ki bi z ovcami vse leto preživeli v gorah, je že zelo malo.
The Scotland seems to have this thing with, Scotland in summer, and it's got a picture of rain. Scotland in winter, picture of rain. Not so much crap, it's like Scotland is sunny. Scotland's a beautiful place, great, it's, good weather. The good thing about being Scottish is you get good days, you get bad days, but once you get a good day, you forget all about the bad days. That's if you're true Scottish. If you don't want to live in Scotland or come to Scotland and you don't like the bad weather in Scotland, well, you're just in the wrong country. This place is absolutely beautiful. I think this, where I'm sitting right now, is the most beautiful place in the world. So, I'm living in the right place for me. And that's, I think myself, like, there's no better country than Scotland. I'm a true local person. Born on this farm. My parents were born 6 miles away, and their parents come from the Highlands of Scotland also. This farm here, my father, he's worked in this farm for 40 years. There's 2,500 sheep on 11,000 acres. That's 5,000 hectares. All my family, my father's brothers, all shepherds, or either gamekeepers. My family walked the biggest flock of sheep ever in Scotland. Many years ago, they used to take the sheep. It was called the Drove Roads, from the Highlands of Scotland down to the lowlands in the south of Scotland. And the Ross clan, they walked the biggest drove ever. When we go out here, it takes us 5 days to take the sheep in. There's 7 men, that's the 5 from our family, my uncle, and 1 neighbour, 7 men that is, and 35 dogs to take all the sheep in. It takes us 5 days. That's just one of the times we do it. We do that in June, 5 days in June, 5 days in July, 5 days in August again. The breed of the sheep, the Scottish Blackface, they're a smaller type sheep because they stay in the hills all year. Again, we go back out there again in October. All the sheep are given a disinfectant wash. And then again in November. There'd be no point going out to get the sheep if you didn't have the border collies. The border collie is by far the most clever dog in the world. Nothing can compete with the border collie. The nature is perfect, the energy is perfect, and the intelligence, second to none. It takes 2 years to train these dogs. That's the way I do it. Everyone does it their own different way. My way is start training at around about 1 year old, once the dog is mature. Train for 2 years. When the dog is 3 years old, he's fully trained. So there is no commands. There is still Gaelic commands, old-fashioned commands. Will I go? In the old days, it was will I go. It just meant for your dog to follow behind. All the hills have their own different names, and it's all translated in Gaelic. But unless you're a Gaelic teacher or you're a true local person, you won't understand what the hills are called. Often they fast commands, because when I'm working the dogs, there's a lot of dogs, so I have to speak very fast. So some people don't understand what I'm saying, but as long as the dogs understand me, that's the most important thing.
That'll do, sweep. That'll do, sweep.
Well, I am originally from Colorado in the United States, and my mother's side of the family is Scottish, so that was what drew me to come to Scotland, was sort of looking up some family roots and things. And when we were here, we heard about the working sheepdogs demonstrations, And so I contacted Neil to see if they ever took people on to learn more about the dogs and the sheep and working on a farm, because growing up in Denver, it was the city, I never knew the first thing about living on a farm at all. So they said they do take people on with room and board, and so I could come and stay with them. And it's been fabulous. He's taught me everything about the sheep and the lambs and all of the dogs, working with them, training them with their commands. Donnie, Neil's father, always says that, he says, you can tell you must be Scottish, it's in your blood, because, you know, the dogs are always really great, and he said I picked it up really quickly, so I don't know, but it was nice of him to say at least. Neil's entire family have been shepherds, and just the relationship that they have with the hills and the sheep it's so fundamental to what Scotland is.
When we're walking the hills there, you are free. The hill person isn't the hill walker. The hill person is the shepherd and the gamekeeper. They look after the hills. When you're going around these hills, you treat them as they're yours. They belong to our boss, we know that, but they're our hills. You know, that's the way it is. You know, we've just, you know, like anything we do is like, you know, if we see anything wrong in these hills, then it's affecting us. So we treat them as our own. This is what we call home. But my freeness is when I'm back out on the hills. I'm free again. You know, I don't have to. I'm just there with my own dogs, you know, and there's nothing, no telephone ringing, no one saying to me, Neil, there's someone here to see you. You're free for that whole day. And like, anything can happen down here, but you know, you can deal with that when you come back. Out there, you're free.